Smoke drifted through the air like ghosts mourning the dead battlefields below. Ships burned across the broken sky, their flaming wreckage falling in slow, fiery trails. The human dropship jolted violently as it pierced the alien planets. Atmosphere, fire licking its hull. Inside, Private Nathan Kane gripped the side rail tightly, his heart pounding against his chest like a trapped animal. It wasn't his war. Not really. He had been conscripted after Earth joined the alliance against the Decal Empire, a war of survival, they said. But no one told him it would come to this, a mission to land in the heart of an alien-controlled region and recover. A missing squad. Nathan wasn't even a soldier 6 months ago. Now he was about to step into hell. The ship landed with a harsh screech, skidding on scorched soil. The doors blasted open before the landing gear had settled. He and 5 others stormed out, guns raised, senses sharp. But no enemy came, just ruins, just silence. The kind of silence that presses into your ears and makes you feel like something's watching. The village they entered looked abandoned. Not just ruined, abandoned. Walls were scorched, strange symbols drawn in soot on stone. Bodies were gone, but dried blood marked the ground. His team split up, each taking a ruined path deeper into the eerie stillness. Nathan moved toward a half-standing building, scanning for movement. Inside, a soft light flickered. Something moved. He raised his rifle, but stopped. A girl stepped out. Not human. Her skin shimmered like soft bronze, and her eyes glowed a faint blue. She didn't look dangerous. She looked young, scared, but unbroken. She raised her hand slowly and spoke in clear, shaky English. "Don't shoot, please. I'm not like them. I didn't fight. I'm not your enemy." Nathan hesitated. The girl seemed alone. No weapon, no threat. Still, he didn't lower his gun. She pointed behind her and whispered, "My mother. She's injured. She's not a fighter either. Please help us." Please. He didn't trust Isley anymore. Too many traps. Too many innocents who turned violent in a blink. But there was something real in her voice. Pain, fear, hope, against. Orders. He entered. The building's back room smelled of smoke and blood. A tall alien woman lay against a broken wall. She was wounded seriously. Her skin bore burns, her breathing shallow but fierce. Her eyes snapped open the moment she saw Nathan, but her hand didn't reach for a weapon. She simply said, "So you're human. I thought I'd never see one again." Her voice was strong but tired. Like a warrior who had seen too much, the daughter knelt beside her. "He's here to help, Mother. He's not like the others. He didn't shoot me." Nathan kept his gun ready but knelt beside the older alien, checking her wound. It was deep, cauterized in parts. "You need a medkit. You'll die if we don't move you." The woman scoffed lightly. "Then why haven't you killed us yet? You're a soldier. Aren't we your enemies?" Nathan looked at her, then at the girl who stared at him with wide, worried eyes. "I don't shoot civilians. You need help. That's all I care about right now." The girl smiled faintly. "My name is Lena. My mother's name is Kaura. She used to command this village before it was taken by war." Nathan didn't say it out loud, but he recognized the name. Kaura wasn't just a village leader. She had once been a feared commander in the Cal Empire. A traitor then. Or maybe a survivor. They waited until nightfall. Then Nathan made the call to his squad. Found survivors, female, 1 wounded. Sending coordinates. Need evac. Command's voice was flat. Civilians or soldiers? He hesitated, then said, "Civilians." "One's a young girl, unarmed. The other's wounded, no longer a threat." There was a long pause. Then, "Copy. Hold position. Extraction in 4 hours." Nathan leaned against the wall, exhausted. Lena sat near him, silent. Then she whispered, "You know who my mother is, don't you?" He nodded. I've heard of her. Lena's voice dropped lower. They'll try to use her, torture her, interrogate her. If they take her alive, she'll be punished until she's dead. Nathan said nothing. He already knew. Then Lena said something he didn't expect. If you must choose between us, choose her. She's stronger than me. She knows what men need. She can help your people understand us. She's more experienced. Nathan turned to her, stunned. You're telling me to save your mother over you? She nodded slowly, eyes glimmering. She raised me to be useful. But she's the one worth saving. I'd give anything to make sure she lives, even if it means you never look at me again. The words hung heavy in the air, louder than any war cry asterisk. The night outside was colder than Nathan expected. The air felt heavy, full of ashen whispers. He checked his rifle again, though he didn't expect an attack. Kelra hadn't moved from where she lay, but her breathing had steadied. Her daughter, Lena, stayed close by, watching him like he was both guardian and threat. Nathan had seen many strange things since the war began, but this was different. A former enemy commander and her daughter alone, hurt and still alive after their city burned. The reports always said Dekel women were deadly and proud, yet Kelra hadn't shown rage or hate. Only strength, even while bleeding. He crouched beside her again, gently applying another med patch to her shoulder. She gritted her teeth but didn't cry out. Her eyes burned into him. Why do you help us, human? Do you pity me? Nathan shook his head. No, but you're not a threat. You're wounded. You're a mother. That's enough. Kelra gave a weak chuckle. That's rare. Most men would have dragged me out and handed me to their generals. They fear strong women like me. Lena touched her mother's hand gently. He's not like that. He didn't even ask questions. He just helped. Nathan leaned back against the wall. You've both been through hell. I'm just trying to keep you breathing until evac. Kelra turned her head slightly. If your people take me, I won't live long. You know that. Nathan didn't answer. He didn't need to. They all knew what would happen. A former high-ranking Dekel would never be treated as just a survivor. She would be interrogated. Broken. Maybe worse. Lena stood up, walked over to Nathan, and sat beside him. She didn't speak for a while. Then her voice came soft and strange. You shouldn't trust me either. I might be lying. Nathan glanced at her. Are you? She looked him in the eyes. No. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was deep. Heavy with everything none of them wanted to say. Then Kelra coughed hard and winced in pain. Nathan reached for more bandages, but the older woman stopped him. Listen, when they come, don't let them take her. If they find out who she is, my daughter, they'll use her too. She's young. She doesn't understand the price of survival. Lena gasped. Mother, no. Kelra raised her voice, firm despite her wounds. If you have to choose, human, take me, not her. Lena shouted. No, I already told him the same. He should take you. You're the one who can speak their language. You're the one who understands men. I'm not ready. Nathan stared at both of them, stunned. Two women from the same bloodline, both offering themselves up for the other. And not in weakness, but in honor. Love. It wasn't a trap. It was real. And it tore something inside him. Suddenly, a noise crackled in. His comes. Squad Alpha, this is Echo 2. Enemy movement reported 2 clicks south of your position. Hold ground. Evac delayed. Nathan swore quietly. We're not safe here. Kelra tried to rise, but her leg gave out. Nathan caught her before she hit the floor. Her face was pale with pain. Lena was beside him instantly, holding her mother's hand. We need to move, Nathan said. Now. He slung his rifle over one shoulder, then carefully lifted Kelra in both arms. She was heavier than she looked, but he didn't complain. Lena picked up a small satchel and followed closely. They slipped out of the broken building and into the ash-covered streets. The night was darker than before. No moon, no stars. Just firelight in the distance and the hum of distant engines. Cal patrols. Nathan led them into the old sewer tunnels beneath the ruins. He didn't trust open ground anymore. Not with a wounded VIP on his back. They walked. In silence for nearly 10 minutes. Calra groaning now and then until they reached a hidden chamber. He set her down gently on a pile of soft fabric. Lena gave her mother water and checked the wound again. Nathan stood watch by the tunnel. Entrance. He didn't speak until Lena came over again. She looked at him with a mix of confusion and something else, curiosity. "You're different," she whispered. "Different how? You don't look at us the way others do. You don't hate us. You don't expect anything." Nathan met her eyes. "I didn't come here to win prizes. I came to finish a war and go home alive." Lena reached out and touched his hand. "But if you had to take someone with you, who would you choose?" He didn't answer. He couldn't, because in his heart, he already felt the weight of the choice pressing down on him like armor made of guilt. Nathan didn't sleep that night. He sat by the tunnel's edge, rifle across his lap, ears tuned to every faint sound above. The darkness wasn't what scared him. It was the decision he'd have to make when the sun came up. 2 lives depended on him now, 2 women who trusted him for reasons he didn't fully understand. Calra slept uneasily. The pain kept her twisting in her makeshift bed. Lena curled beside her, holding her mother's hand tightly, eyes open, staring at the pole wall. She hadn't spoken again after her question. But the silence between her and Nathan was heavy with meaning. The radio clicked alive at dawn. Static buzzed, then a voice came through. "Echo 2 to Kane, evac window in 30 minutes. Hostile patrols spotted near your coordinates. Recommend immediate extraction." Nathan pressed the button. "Copy that. I've got 2 survivors, 1 wounded. Request priority medical pickup. Confirmed. Transport inbound. Keep position secure." He clipped the radio back to his vest. 30 minutes. That was all they had. He walked over to the others, speaking softly. "Time to move. We've got a bird coming." Kelra groaned but forced herself upright with Lena's help. Her face was pale, sweat beading on her brow. "I can walk. Just help me stand." Nathan offered her his arm, steadying her weight. Lena walked close behind, eyes darting, scanning the shadows. They emerged from the tunnel and began making their way toward the clearing where the evac would land. The sun was rising behind them, casting long shadows over the cracked earth. But they didn't get far. A sudden screech split the air. A pulse bolt slammed into the ground beside them, exploding dirt and rock. Nathan shoved Kelra down and fired instinctively. 4 decal soldiers burst from cover, weapons raised. They weren't rebels. These were loyalists, Kelra's old army. Lena screamed as energy blasts flew around them. Nathan rolled behind a broken wall, returning fire. He hit one, watched the body drop, but the others kept coming. They didn't want to fight. They wanted Kelra alive. He could see it in the way they moved. "They're here for her." He shouted, "Stay down." Kelra tried to rise, but her leg gave way again. She looked up at Nathan with blazing eyes. "Give me a weapon." He tossed her his sidearm. She caught it without hesitation and fired at a flanking enemy. The bolt struck clean through the soldier's shoulder, dropping him instantly. Nathan felt a strange chill. Even half dead, she was deadly. Lena dragged her mother behind better cover, screaming Nathan's name. One of the decal got close, too close. Nathan tackled him to the ground, drove his elbow into the alien's face, then took the rifle and fired point blank into his chest. 3 down. 1 left. The last soldier raised his hands, signaling surrender. But his eyes were locked on Kelra. "I came for her," he said in broken English. She is our general. She must come home. Nathan raised his rifle. She's not yours. Anymore. The soldier stared at him, then turned to Kelra. You betrayed your blood for a human? Kelra aimed her pistol without flinching. I left blood behind because I saw what we became. I chose peace. The bolt hit him clean in the chest. He fell backward, motionless. Silence returned, broken only by the crackling of distant fires. Nathan helped her up again. This time, she didn't protest. Lena looked at both of them, trembling. They'll send more. They'll never stop. Nathan didn't argue. She was right. But right now, they had to move. Minutes later, the evac transport descended from the clouds, dust and wind blasting around them. A side door opened, and medics jumped out, reaching for Kelra. But she clung to Nathan's arm, whispering something low and fierce. You still have to choose. Nathan's grip tightened. The medic shouted over the roar of the engines. We only have room for two. One patient, one escort. Who's coming with her? Lena looked up at him, eyes wide. Her lips trembled. She didn't speak, but he could hear her plea all the same. Her mother gripped his hand. She was silent too, but her strength spoke volumes. It wasn't just about escape anymore. It was about trust. About legacy. About what kind of man he truly was. Nathan's heart raced. He had to choose now. One seat. One survivor. One decision that would change all three lives. And the clock was ticking. Asterisk. The roar of the evac ship made it hard to think. Wind whipped through Nathan's hair as the side hatch opened wide. The medic kept shouting. One injured. One escort. We're at capacity. Decide now or we leave without. Kelra's arm was around his shoulder, her breath shaky. Her body leaned heavily against his. Lena stood nearby, her hands shaking, eyes locked on him. Neither of them spoke. The choice was his. He looked into Kelra's face. Blood trickled from her temple. Her strength was fading fast. She was a warrior, yes, but broken now. Still, she was proud. She could speak for her people. She could survive a tribunal. She could be useful to command. Then he looked at Lena. She was younger, healthier, but not hardened like her mother. There was fear in her. Not cowardice, but innocence, like someone who had never chosen violence. She wasn't ready for interrogation rooms or secret councils. She was soft in all the ways her mother was steel. Nathan swallowed hard. He whispered, "You'll hate me for this." Lena stepped forward. "No, I won't." He turned to the medic and pointed at Kelra. "She's the one. She needs help. I'll stay behind with the girl." The medic nodded fast, pulling Kelra from his grip and into the arms of two waiting hands. She resisted only once, grabbing Nathan's hand and holding it with surprising force. "Keep her safe," she said. "She is better than me. She has a chance to live free." Then she was gone, lifted into the ship. The hatch closed with a loud bang. Engines roared. And within seconds, the transport lifted into the sky, leaving dust and silence in its wake. Lena fell to her knees. She didn't cry. She just stared at the sky, as if hoping it would return her mother. Nathan kneeled beside her and put a hand on her shoulder. She didn't flinch. "She wanted you to go," he said quietly. Lena nodded. "I know. That's why you had to send her instead." Nathan stood, helping her up gently. "We need to move. If those patrols send scouts, they'll find us fast." They began walking east, heading into the ruins where thick jungle overtook the remains of old cities. As they walked, Lena finally spoke again. "You could have left me." "I don't leave people behind," he replied. "But I'm just one girl." She was a commander. Nathan looked ahead. That's why she'd survive. You wouldn't. They walked for an hour in silence. Then Lena stopped. "Do you think they'll hurt her?" Nathan didn't answer right away. "I think they'll try to use her, but she's not easy to break." Lena looked down. She used to say she was. born to lead. But in the end, she chose to follow your decision. Nathan stopped walking. She trusted me. Now I have to earn it. Lena looked at him with a strange expression, half sorrow, half admiration. You're different from the stories they told us about humans. They said your kind only cared about dominance, about taking what you want. Nathan chuckled dryly. Some are like that. But not all of us. She stepped closer. So, what do you want, Nathan? He looked at her carefully. Right now? To keep you alive, that's all. Her eyes flickered. Even if I'm not strong like her, you don't need to be her. You're you. That's enough. They found shelter in an old observation tower, long rusted but still standing. Inside, they built a small fire. Lena sat beside it, knees hugged to her chest. Nathan sat across, cleaning his rifle and listening for distant sounds. Lena's voice came soft. Do you think she'll tell them everything? Kalra. No, she'll tell them what she wants them to hear, nothing more. Lena stared into the fire. Then we might not see her again. Nathan nodded slowly. It's possible. After a long pause, Lena reached into her satchel and pulled out a small pendant. She handed it to him. My mother gave me this when I was a child. She said if I ever lost my way, I should give it to someone who could protect me. Nathan took it gently, turning the smooth stone between his fingers. Why give it to me? Lena looked at him directly. Because you didn't ask for anything in return, not even thanks. You just stayed. He nodded once, slowly closing his fingers around the pendant. The fire crackled quietly between them as night returned, but Nathan knew the war wasn't over. Tell loyalists still hunted their own, and now he wasn't just protecting a survivor. He was protecting a legacy. The jungle had swallowed the ruins whole. Trees with glowing veins curled around broken towers. Strange birds screeched overhead as Nathan and Lena moved quietly through moss-covered streets. Days had passed since Kelra was taken. No messages came, no reinforcements. Just survival. Lena walked silently behind him, her eyes always scanning. She was learning fast how to move without noise, how to listen for danger. Nathan had taught her everything he knew in just a few days, and she never complained. But there was sadness in her, buried deep. They found shelter in an old underground tram station. Thick vines had torn through the walls, and water dripped steadily from above. Nathan secured the perimeter before building a fire. Lena sat beside it, drying her soaked boots. Do you think she's still alive? Nathan didn't lie. I hope so. Lena looked at her hands. I keep thinking I should have gone instead. You wouldn't have survived interrogation, Nathan said. You were right. She's stronger. She can take it. Lena stared at the fire. But what if they twist her? What if they make her into something else? Something dangerous again, Nathan sighed. Then we stop her. If it comes to that. But I don't think she'll break. Lena turned to him. She never breaks. That's why men feared her. That's why she raised me to be second, to watch, to learn, to obey. Nathan frowned. You're not second anymore. She handed you that choice. Now it's yours. Lena said nothing for a while. Then she pulled something from her pouch. An old data crystal. This has everything about her, her rank, her missions, her victories. If your people ever find this, they'll see her as a threat again. Nathan stared at the crystal. Why give it to me? Because I don't want her to die for what she used to be. I want them to see her for what she is now. He took it and slid it into his vest. You trust me that much? She nodded. I trust the man who gave up his only way out, just to save someone else's mother. That night, while she slept, Nathan sat at the edge of the station and stared into the dark. His rifle rested beside him, but his thoughts were heavier than any weapon. He had disobeyed orders, broken protocol. And yet, He felt more right than he ever had during this war. The next morning, they woke to movement. A sharp vibration in the floor, a hum that came from above. Nathan grabbed his weapon and peeked outside. A patrol ship, human. It hovered silently, scanning the ruins with blue beams. Lena rushed beside him. Is it them? Could be. He activated his emergency beacon. Within seconds, the patrol ship adjusted its flight and began descending. A hatch opened. A man in sleek black armor stepped out, weapon lowered but ready. Lieutenant Kane? Nathan stood tall. That's me. The man eyed Lena. Is this the civilian survivor? Yes. Orders are to bring both of you back for debriefing. And, he hesitated. We have news. They boarded the ship. Inside, Lena clutched the seat beside Nathan tightly. He put a reassuring hand over hers. The officer across from them spoke again. Your Evat Kelra, she survived. She's alive. Lena's eyes widened. She's okay? The man nodded slowly. Physically, yes. She's under high-level observation. But she won't talk. Not a word since she arrived. Refuses to answer anything. Nathan sat back. Relief and worry mixed in his chest. She's staying quiet to protect her daughter. The officer added, Command is suspicious. They believe she's hiding something, and they'll keep pushing until she breaks. Lena whispered, she'll die first. The officer looked uncomfortable but didn't deny it. Later, in the military outpost, Nathan and Lena were separated. She was placed in a private room under light guard. Nathan stood in front of a panel of 3 high-ranking officials, explaining what happened, how he made his choice, and why he disobeyed. When he handed over the data crystal, the room went silent. One officer leaned forward. Do you understand what this contains? Yes, Nathan said calmly. I also understand that Kelra chose peace. That should count for something. The next day, they let him see her. Kelra sat in a cold room, eyes closed, hands chained to the table. When she opened them and saw Nathan, something inside her shifted. He sat across from her without a word. She waited, then finally asked, Is she safe? He nodded. She's here. They're treating her well. She gave me the crystal. Kelra's face tensed. Why? She wants them to know the truth, the whole truth, not just the past, the present. Kelra's eyes softened. She always wanted to be strong, but she never realized her kindness was strength too. Nathan leaned forward. She's not your shadow anymore. She's ready to lead, maybe in a different way. Kelra whispered, Then I made the right choice. And for the first time since the war began, she smiled. The review board didn't trust Kelra. Even after the decryption of her daughter's data crystal, even after her silence under interrogation, their eyes remained cold. To them, she was still a former enemy commander, useful only if broken, feared if left whole. Nathan argued on her behalf in every room they let him speak. He told them about the village, about the bloodshed, about her choice to surrender, to save her daughter, to fight against her own kind. But the officials were blind to sacrifice. They only saw threat. Lena waited each day with growing dread. She wasn't under arrest, but she wasn't free either. Observed, monitored, a quiet prisoner in a golden room. Still, she never stopped asking about her mother. Never stopped watching the sky, as if hoping Kelra might fly out of it one day on her own. 1 week after Nathan's final testimony, a decision came. The council had voted. Kelra would not be executed. But she wouldn't be freed either. She was to be exiled, kept on a neutral world, monitored, never allowed to command or return to her people. Nathan read the judgment with tight lips. He entered her holding room that night. Kelra looked up from the narrow bench, her back straight. So they've decided. You'll live, Nathan said. But not like before, she nodded. That life is over anyway. They're sending you to Varine 3, a border colony. Safe, peaceful, but you'll be watched. Kalra leaned forward. And Lena? She's free to choose. Stay here, go with you, or return to her kind. Kalra said nothing for a long time. Then finally, she looked him in the eye. What would you want her to choose? Nathan didn't answer right away. He thought of Lena's quiet strength, her loyalty, her fire. Then he said, whatever makes her free. They escorted Kalra to the transport the next morning. Nathan and Lena stood together at the edge of the hangar bay. Lena ran to her mother and hugged her tightly, forehead against forehead. No tears, just connection. I'm proud of you, Kalra said. You saw the truth when I couldn't. And you made it your own. I'm going with you, Lena said, but Kalra shook her head. No, you must stay. You must see the world for yourself now. Not just through my eyes. Lena's voice cracked. I don't want to be alone. Kalra smiled. Then, don't be. She looked at Nathan. And for the first time, Lena followed her mother's gaze. She stepped back, walked slowly toward him. Her fingers brushed his. Will they let me stay with you? Nathan nodded. If that's what you want. I don't know what I want, she said. But I know who I trust. Kalra boarded the ship. The doors closed behind her. Lena and Nathan stood in silence as the transport lifted into the sky. A former enemy, now a symbol of peace, rising into exile. Weeks passed. Nathan took a position in civilian security, far from the front lines. He lived quietly now, no longer a soldier. Lena stayed with him. Not as a captive, not as a guest, but as someone learning to live her own life. She studied languages, helped refugees, even taught children from both species. One night, under a silver sky, they sat together on the roof of the outpost. Lena leaned against Nathan's shoulder, holding his hand gently. Do you think she's okay? Nathan looked up at the stars. I think she's watching us, proud. Lena smiled. She wanted you to choose her. But you chose both of us. I chose what felt right, he said. She looked at him. And now, he met her eyes. Now I choose to stay. She kissed his cheek. Then so do I. Above them, stars burned silently. War had taken much. But out of ruin, something new had grown. Not victory, not surrender. Just two lives rebuilt from trust, from pain, from impossible choices. And for the first time, the future felt like something worth walking toward together.